Gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Thursday, May 8th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. We are up over 1,000 subscribers, which we appreciate as well. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe and tell a friend or two about what we're doing each and every day here in the Quad Cities, Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We also live every day on X as well. X has been very good to us, so thank you if you're tuning in and watching live on X as well. And then we're also available on all your podcasting platforms. Another beautiful day in the Quad Cities. So if you're running around tonight, you're working out, going for a run, all those kind of things, download the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Check it out in that form as well. A lot to get to on today's show. Pretty excited. Coming up in just a little bit, in a matter of moments, the WNBA season is right around the corner. Exhibition games started earlier this week. Kate Martin, in a new home out in Golden State, had her first exhibition game this week as well, preseason game, if you will. We're going to talk to her dad, Matt Martin. He's a coach over at United Township, really good dude. But talk to him about what a journey it's been for Kate Martin, not just through Iowa, but also especially the last year, going from not knowing she's going to get drafted to making the defending champions out in Vegas and the summer and all those kind of things. So a lot to talk about with Matt Martin. Also talk to him about the Iowa basketball program, the women's basketball program, and much, much more. So Matt Martin coming up in just a matter of moments, talking all about Kate Martin and the WNBA. Also, later on in hour number one, congratulations to United Township baseball team. Their victory over Geneseo yesterday clinched at least a share of the Western Big Six Championship. They got 2 games left. Those 2 games are against Moline. Moline 2 games back, so Moline could eventually tie as well, but the Panthers celebrating at least a share of the conference championship, doing so for the second straight year. Their head coach, Bryce Lucan, coming up later in hour number one as well. Great to catch up with him. And also, it's Throwback Thursday. We started this a few weeks ago. We've had Jim Mertens, Jason Fechner last week. Today, we're going to class the place up a little bit. The one and only, the lovely Denise Hnytka will join me in hour number 2 to talk, just reminisce, talk about what she's up to now, her awesome family, those kind of things. So Denise Hnytka coming up in hour number 2 of today's program. If you haven't checked out the show this week, on Monday, Tom Kakert and Kyle Huseman were nice enough to come in and talk about Caitlin Clark's return to Carver Hawkeye Arena. It was also Cinco de Mayo, so the one and only Snoop Ramirez was in the house out here, brought me food. We had some fun with Snoop as well on Monday. On Tuesday, Pat Angerer, John Marks, and Noah Wethington were on Tuesday. Yesterday's show was a lot of fun. Excuse me. Payton Brown, the Western Illinois softball standout, OVC Player of the Year, of course, former Rock Ridge standout as well. Payton joined me in studio. Really great to hear from her, kind of talking about she went to Illinois State last year. Just, it wasn't right. She almost lost her love for the game of softball. Went to Western Illinois, and the rest is history. Had an amazing season. Great to see her smiling again. Great to see her playing great softball again. And it was awesome for her to join us yesterday. Also, it was Steamwheelers Wednesday, so Ivory Scott, offensive lineman from the Wheelers, the 6-0 Wheelers, were in the house. We talked with him. And then Alleman's Nicholas Patrick, 100-0 in his career, getting ready to go for that 4th straight state championship. Nicholas was nice enough to join us yesterday as well. Well, we talked about Payton Brown. Speaking of some softball, the CCIW tournament gets started today. I think it's down at Illinois Wesleyan at noon. Augustana playing really good softball. We'll see how well they do. John Nelson and company going down there to open up the CCIW. Bad news for both Iowa and Wisconsin in the Big Ten softball tournament. Iowa losing, most likely ending their season, but a great run for Iowa. 35-18, I think, overall. Some really impressive victories. Don't think it's enough to make the postseason. We'll see. Also, Wisconsin lost Kendra Lewis, the Rockridge standout, finishing up an amazing freshman season for the Badgers. We're going to catch up with Kendra Lewis maybe tomorrow on the show right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So yeah, and this time of year, spring sports kind of wrapping up. They've hit the home stretch, postseason right around the corner. And we mentioned the WNBA also getting ready to rock and roll. And that's something that, 5 years ago, I probably would have never talked about. But obviously the game now is more popular than ever. A big reason for that, Caitlin Clark last year, but also Kate Martin had a lot to do with that as well. We're joined now by a familiar face, Kate Martin's dad, Matt Martin, and also a throwing coach for the track team over at United Township, football coach over there as well. You're wearing the UT logo with pride, Matt. I know you're excited about this time of year. I know you're busy, but you got some good talent over there with the UT track team.
I do. Thank you for mentioning it, Matt. I have a great head coach, and Evan Holschbach. He lets us coach. We got a great staff. We got kids that are passionate about track, and I like the whole team. I really do, but particularly the throwers who I'm responsible for. I have Michael Pomasi, who currently has the #1 shot put throw in the state of Illinois. And he has the #5 discus throw, and then I have Francis Cessino that has the #4 best discus throw currently, and then I have Nick McBride, who has been throwing state qualifying and shot. And I was telling you earlier that my biggest issue at this time of the year, I want to keep them fresh and healthy, and so I'm backing off practice, and they don't seem to understand that. They're just grinders. They're grinders, and They want to practice all the time. It's a good problem for a coach to have. Absolutely.
It's a fun time of year for you. Fun time as a dad as well. WNBA season starting back up, of course. Kate down in Golden State right now had her first preseason game the other night. It's funny because I want to start by flashing back to a year ago, almost, maybe a little more than a year ago. And I was out at your family house, or the house that you guys were at with the draft party. And I know that night was exhilarating, but I remember talking to you afterwards and you're like, hey, it's awesome, but she's still got to go work hard and make a team. If I told you a year or so ago that not only would she make the defending WNBA champion team, but have a good rookie season and then be the top pick in the expansion draft, what would you have said to me if I told you all that?
I wouldn't have believed you, but everything's been gravy really from here on out. I'm happy for her. She's self-sufficient. She's making her way. She's living her dream. She's having success. People generally like her. Her teammates respect her. Her coaching staff respect her. I just think watching her, how she conducted herself in college, and watching her the first year in the W and the start of the second year, I just think she shows signs that she's going to be successful in whatever she does. And hopefully it's a long career in the W, but who knows, but she just has the characteristics that she's going to be okay. And I think that's, as a parent, that's what I worry about. Are your kids going to be okay? Are they going to be able to make it? And she's showing signs she's going to be all right.
Yeah, she's going to be more than all right, Dad. She's doing great things. Talk about being in Golden State, because I know she loved Vegas and she loved what she did there. Talk about being in Golden State, what she's kind of told you. And I know it's an exciting time there with the new franchise and a great area for basketball. Your thoughts on the Valkyries?
I think it's a team that wanted her, right? I think it's human nature to go where you're wanted. And, Coach Nikasi was, I'm not sure everybody knows, but she was an assistant coach with the Vegas Aces. And so she got a chance to spend a year with Kate, and Kate got a chance to spend a year with her. And Coach Nikasi wanted people like Kate, on her team. And yeah, like you said, they brought her on board. And I think I've heard nothing but good things. Kate is very positive, loves her teammates, say they go about practice the right way. They enjoy being together. She thinks they're going to be competitive. There was a point in the game where I think they late third quarter made her free throws or whatever, and she started pumping up the crowd. And for me as a dad, it was just fun to see her competing again, to see that fire, to see that energy. It was fun for me. I'm a lot more calm now. I was stressed more in high school and college, but now I'm a lot more calm, and I'm just trying to enjoy the moment. If she gets to play 2 minutes or 20, I'm trying to enjoy that time.
Matt, she's doing what she loves, and she's doing on the highest level, and you can just tell she's comfortable playing basketball. And that included this summer being part of the 3-on-3 league. Kind of talk about that, because Kate just likes to play basketball. I mean, is it as simple as that, as Kate just likes to play the game of basketball?
I think Kate likes to compete, and basketball seems to be her love and joy to compete at, but she likes to compete. I was really excited about the Unrivaled season. She started off really well, and then there was just some things that weren't going well for her, and then I get a call, and she said, "Dad, I'm hurt. I've been trying to fight through this injury." Her knee had been bothering her, and so it ended short for her. But she really enjoyed getting to know those teammates and her coaches, and you get an opportunity to meet other women from other teams in the league, and and build those relationships, and so unfortunately it ended short, but she enjoyed her time in Unrivaled.
What was your reaction during last season when I'd see lists, and the most popular jersey was that 22 and Caitlin Clark and all of that, but like Kate's right there too. I mean, as a dad, are you sitting at home?
Number 4.
What does it say about her? Because I mean, there's basketball side of things, and she's good at it, but I think it says a lot about a person as well. There's fans of Kate Martin, the person. Am I wrong on that?
No, I think you hit it on the head, right? I think her jersey finished number 4 in jersey sales in the W. I think that's what it is, behind Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, and then the girl Hnytka out of New York, and then Kate Martin. And I think you hit it on the head. Like, I've asked some of my friends, we've talked about it, and I said, it's just crazy. It's surreal. And they just said, she's genuine. She's genuine, and people appreciate that. You get what you see. And I think people do buy the jersey. I mean, they like watching her play basketball, but they like her more as a person, maybe. It's possible.
We've always joked because she killed the Quad Cities during high school. Like, Rocky people don't like her because she killed down in Edwardsville. But you go around the Quad Cities now, and there's a ton of Kate Martin fans, and it's almost like she's been embraced as a Quad Citian. Kind of talk to that, because obviously the family ties are here, and she's here in the off season, but it's really cool to see. I almost feel like this is home for Kate. Talk to that, because the Quad Cities loves their own, and they kind of treat Kate like her own, and probably should.
Well, if you play sports at Iowa, you're loved in Iowa, right? And I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find another fan base that supports their athletes better than Iowans, correct? That I think that has a lot to do with it. And I do think Kate spent a lot of time here, and she has obvious family ties here. That draws the connections. Hey, my teacher, his daughter plays for the W, and those people feel connected, right? Or, we live next door to her aunt and uncle, and those people feel connected. And it's easy to feel connected to people, or to Kate, because she connects to people. She gives them their time. If they ask for a picture, they ask for an autograph, she gives it to them. So she she builds relationships. She's easy to connect to and want to root for, right? And I think there's a lot of parents out there with young daughters too. And this is not a knock on Kate, but my guess is I would surmise that, sure, we would all like our daughter to be Caitlin Clark, but it's probably not very realistic, right? But maybe there's a chance my daughter can be Kate Martin, right? And maybe that's a lot of people see their granddaughter, see Kate and their granddaughter, or see Kate and their daughter, and I think that's part of it. And I think St. Louis has adopted, Kate as well, right? Where our kids grew up, and yeah, she's easy to connect to.
Absolutely. Matt Martin joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You mentioned that fan base in Iowa City. I'm assuming you were probably maybe watching on Sunday when Caitlin made her return home. Your thoughts on, again, I'll go back to the questions if I told you years ago, but if I would have told you 5 years ago that the WNBA was selling out Carver Hawkeye Arena on a May Sunday, you would have thought I was on something. Your reaction to what you saw on Sunday?
Well, first of all, and I got to hate on myself a little bit. I remember when the W started, and I think I made a comment. I just don't see this league making it. Well, it has. I also didn't think cell phones would make it either. So if that puts things in perspective, who wants to carry around a phone, right?
You want to get away from the phone. You don't want to carry it with you.
And every household would have a computer. I thought that was silly. But anyway, so what do I know? Yeah, I think it's special. I just think Caitlin Clark is special, and I saw it, Caitlin's freshman year. I remember Kate and I talking, and, and Caitlin has a personality, until she trusts you, she can be abrasive, and her and Kate worked on their relationship. They both, worked on it and became obviously very close and very good friends. But I remember telling Kate, I go, listen, this girl is special. If you guys can make this work, I go, I really think you maybe be able to compete for some Big Ten championships or something, I just think you can do special things. Obviously, I didn't think they'd go to back-to-back, Final Fours and championship games, but, they were able to do it. And, definitely a lot, definitely it worked out better than I ever thought. And I think Caitlin and the W, and I think there's other great players in the W, and Caitlin's attention helps shine a light on those other players and other teams. That's what I think goes on.
No, I completely agree with you on that. And now that we're being hard on ourselves, I was the same way. I was like, this is a league that has good basketball, but the attention's not there. And now it is. And I've become a fan of the league. You watch the talent around the league, and you're like, the playoffs last year, it's really good basketball. It's just really fun basketball to watch. So I would completely agree with you there. The Iowa fan base, I tweeted or posted on X, whatever you call it nowadays, on Sunday. And I hate pandering to people. I hate putting, posts up just to get people to like and all that kind of stuff. But watching that game, I thought, and I believe it, that the state of Iowa probably deserves or needs some type of professional women's basketball. And then I kind of thought about it, and I was like, but is that just because Caitlin's there? And then I thought, no, because the fan base at Iowa, even when Caitlin and Kate and Gabby left, was still there. Go to Iowa State. The fan base for Bill Fenley's group is there. The fan base at Northern Iowa, the fan base at Drake. I mean, women's basketball in that state just resonates. So my question, long-winded question to you is, can a state like Iowa, I'm not saying next year, I'm not saying the year after that, but can they support a WNBA team or a professional women's basketball team in the state of Iowa?
Absolutely. Especially if they play Caitlin Clark in the Fever twice a year, right? That would help. That would help. I think, and I will even go further. I think women's high school basketball is pretty popular in 100%. The state of Iowa. And AAU women's basketball is pretty popular. I think they have a passion for it here. I think if you put out a good product, like what Iowa women's basketball and what the NBA, the WNBA is showing now, that if they'll put it on the air and those teams put out a good product, people will watch. And I definitely think Iowa could handle a pro team.
No, I completely agree with you. Let's talk about the Iowa women's basketball team because it was the year after, and they did okay. Coach Jensen did a fantastic job. I know, Coach is Kate's aunt and the relationship and a family member for you guys. Your thoughts on how Coach Jensen did her first year at the helm of the University of Iowa with a lot of pressure and a lot of people leaving and all that kind of stuff. Your thoughts on year one under Coach Jensen?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think you have to be careful to compare apples to oranges. I think the NIL is different now. I think it's changing the whole landscape of college athletics. Bluter didn't have to deal with that. And I want to be clear. I'm a Coach Bluter fan. She's been wonderful to our family, wonderful to our daughter. But, in my humble opinion, it's not the same, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, NIL is creating, like, you as a coach, you bust your butt to get a player into your program, and then it's like, whew, I can relax. No, you can't relax anymore. You got to recruit your own players every year.
Yeah.
I think it's changed everything, and it's come down to money, who has the biggest offer. I think it's a challenge. And you lose arguably one of the greatest players and maybe one of the greatest teams that I was, ever seen, or the country's ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, Iowa women's basketball, I said it, this is the end of an era. All those girls got recruited and came in all together. They were developed by Coach Bluter and her staff. You're not going to see that anymore. If you have a weakness, those teams are going to go out and get other players. I just think it's changed. And I thought Jan did a great job. They went on, a 4 or 5 game skid, and those kids and coaches didn't complain. They put their boots on and went to work and became very competitive. Would they win? 22 games?
23, I think. 23 games. Yeah.
And not knocking Bluter, but, before Caitlin and all them got there, 23 games would have been a great season for Iowa women's basketball, right? Mm-hmm. I just think I have no doubt that coaching staff is tremendous. I think their challenge will be recruiting, great players and keeping great players. And I think a lot of staffs are going to have that issue.
Yeah. It's funny because you mentioned the change. I do think Coach Jensen does a good maybe her personality is more equipped for this era. And I'm not saying that as a negative towards Coach Bluter, but and everybody loved her, but she was very professional and maybe a little more old school. And Coach Jensen just has this kind of fire, this personality that might help her during all this. But no, I'm with you. It's sad. I used to love to watch men's, women, all these teams grow and learn together. And now it's free agency every single year, which makes things a little difficult to say the least. I want to talk to you, your old stomping grounds down in Edwardsville. You coached, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you coached a young AJ Epinesa?
I did. Yeah,
and
I did.
Did you now Yossi's at the University of Iowa now, a highly recruited young man. Do you remember Yossi when you were down at Edwardsville?
It's Yossi. Yossi.
Yossi.
Yeah.
Do you remember him running around? And isn't Epi the mayor of Edwardsville down there? He's a pretty popular dude, isn't he?
Yeah, him and Epi and his wife Stephanie are wonderful people, wonderful family. They give back to the community. I've talked about it in length many times, but they are what you think they are. They're tremendous. I coached AJ. I was not only his head football coach, but I was his D-line coach for 4 years. I also coached him in throws, and for 4 years. I don't know if there's a high school kid that spent more time with me. So that poor kid.
And despite that, he's been successful. Despite you.
Yeah. Despite that, he's made it. He survived, and Yeah, and I've known Yosei since he's a little kid, and I coached Yosei. I was his position coach for 2 years in football, and his head coach. And so, yeah, I know the family well. And then there was Eric, who walked on at Iowa and coached him. And yes, I know all the boys. Wonderful family, very supportive.
He's got a little bit of pressure being an Epinesa going to the University of Iowa. You coached him for a little bit. What can fans expect with that family? You know certain traits that you're going to get, if that makes sense. You know you're going to get hard work, athleticism, all that kind of stuff. What can Iowa fans expect from him as he comes into the University of Iowa as a freshman this year?
He's built for it. He's built for it. He's been under AJ's shadow since he was a little kid. It's not going to overwhelm him. He embraces it. He's not scared of it. He's his own man. There are things, I'm sure, in time, AJ did better than Yosei, and there's going to be things that Yosei does better than AJ ever thought of. Yosei's benefited from AJ. He's benefited from AJ's tutelage, his example, the bar that AJ set, and Yosei's always been trying to achieve it. So he just had a big throw the other day. He threw 192 in the discus. I think he's ranked number 1 in Illinois right now.
So you're going to be coaching against him here, maybe in the last few weekends. Go
Possibly,
easy on him, Coach.
I'll never go against an Epinesa. I'll be rooting for him.
No, absolutely. Before I let you go, we talked about your coaching and football and throwing and all those kind of things. You look at Kate, and we used to interview Kate all the time, and she was one of my favorite interviews as a news guy because she gave you, I don't want to say coach speak because that's a negative term, but she was so good at it, just addressing the media, talking to the media, understanding the game, relaying the game to us, those kind of things. She's going to coach someday, isn't she, Dad?
I don't know. Kate would like to have a family too, so in order for her to coach in college, she would have to have a partner that would have to take over some of those responsibilities. Because I think her passion's basketball, but her passion's kids too. And so do I think she has a gift for it? I do. Maybe the W would be a better coaching experience for her. You don't have to recruit all those high school kids. You don't have to recruit your own players every year. Maybe the W would be a better fit, but sure, she has this gift. I think she would be great. That's my personal opinion. I would like to see her give it a try.
Yeah.
We will see.
Let's have her play for about 10, 12 more years, and then we can figure that out down the road. That'd be a lot easy. You mentioned competing with and how Kate likes to compete. Have you gotten to compete with her in the off season? And I'm talking about golf. I know you guys go out in golf. We've talked about this before. So have you gotten to steal her for a few times in golf? And with the competing, I have a feeling she gets the competitive side from maybe your dad. I don't know. Maybe dad's competitive too. So tell us about the golf. Is she beating you? Have you gotten out there? And be honest. Be honest.
She's not beating me. No, she's not beating me. Poor Kate does not get to golf as much as she wants. But I'll tell you what, she might outdrive me. She can hit the ball a long ways, but she's not going to beat me with that short game. There's no way.
I love it. I love it.
Mr. Martin I play old man golf. I can chip and putt a little bit.
Hey, you drive for show, you putt for dough. And that's right. What it's all about. Last one, how do you envision watching Kate this year? I mean, it was a little easier probably in Vegas. We talked a little bit before we came on and before we started the interview, but it's not like it's an easy journey out to San Francisco all the time. Your thoughts on how you play, and you're busy too. You're coaching and all those kind of things. How are you going to consume Kate Martin basketball as much as possible during this season? Is there a plan?
It's going to be tough. Her uncle's Matt Fitzpatrick, right? And we've already been talking that that Western time zone's rough, right? It's rough. Those are late nights watching, but I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm just really like in college. When she was in college and she wasn't playing well or up to her standard or my standard, I always joke. I would had this nervous energy and I would clean the whole house, and I would joke that if Iowa was playing bad and Kate was playing bad, at least I got my house clean, and I don't want to clean the house. I want to sit back and relax and enjoy the good and the bad. And I might sound silly, but I think parents know what I'm talking about. You want to see your child help their team win. I would like to see the Valkyries surprise people and be competitive and win games. And Coach Hnytka, she's a fiery competitor. And I just watched one game, but I can tell the team she built, those players have a certain mindset. And if they can score the basket, I think that team's going to surprise some people. I really think they're competitors. And I know my daughter, and if Coach Hnytka got a lot of people that think like Kate, which it looks like they did, I think they're going to find a way to surprise people. I really do.
Team sports are a culture, and that's an important thing. And I think now here's my thing: if you're cleaning houses, I have 4 boys, and it's never clean. So, but here now, I'm not joking, Matt. I have in my basement, I have a 70-inch TV, and my wife let me do this. I have a 50-inch, 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 50-inch. So it's a TV wall. You're more than welcome to come over and watch the WNBA all night long, and with a mop and a broom, count me out. Maybe. I didn't think so.
I'll tell you. Last year, I'll tell you a funny story. When we were still living in Edwardsville, I think it was last year, or maybe it was the year before. We were going to play Colorado in the Sweet 16, and Julie Fitzpatrick, Jill's sister, Kate's aunt, called us and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing for the game?" And we're like, "Well, we're sitting at home, and we're going to watch it at home." And she goes, "Well, I got some friends coming through St. Louis, and they're wanting to watch the game." And I said, "They could watch it at your house." And I said, "Well, sure. Who are they?" And she goes, "It's my pastor and all her pastor friends."
Oh, boy.
And, of course, we said, "That's awesome. Great." Well, then, I started thinking, and I told the pastor this story, but as time and we're waiting for them to show up, I started getting nervous. I'm going to have to be on my best behavior.
Yeah.
That was a lot of pressure. Matt, you would have been proud of me. I did good.
Did you? I was going to say, did you behave yourself?
I behaved myself.
I'll tell you this. Anything you say around my boys, unfortunately, and my wife's probably going to watch this, they've heard it before from me. So anything that is said, unfortunately, I get wrapped up in the sports a little bit, and that's the beauty of it. So, Hey, Matt, I appreciate you taking the time to chat. You've always been good to me. And I appreciate that a lot. Best of luck with United Township. I am worried about the Panthers and the UT program in general, because the whole athletic program, because Bam's leaving and you guys are turning it over to Scott Harding. Like, what can you do something?
Hey, the decision was made behind my back.
They didn't call me. They didn't call me. That's for sure.
How do you hire a guy for the role of AD that has a massive slice, right?
That's
right. How do you hire a guy like that?
I've been saying it for. Hey, I'll tell you what. Him, and I'm gonna mess it up, but I know Coach Welch and probably Coach Say and a few others were at my dad's golf outing last year golfing, and I know Coach Say can't play this year because he's got the Justin Starp shootout. So maybe you can join the Harding's team and help him out a little bit.
I'm all in. If I don't have football, I'm all in.
I'll bug you. You'll have a blast. I promise you that. So
please do.
All right, Matt, I appreciate your time as always. Be well, and good luck to Kate and all that, and good luck to the Panthers the next couple weeks.
I'd like to say thank you to you, and I'm proud of you. You took a big leap, and good things happen to good people, and I wish you all the success. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thanks, buddy. That is Matt Martin, Kate Martin's dad, of course, coach over at United Township as well. The WNBA season right around the corner, and a lot of Valkyries fans in the Quad Cities now as well. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Quad Cities, are you brave enough for halfway to Halloween? Friday, May 16th, the Steamwheelers battle on Tulsa in a night of haunted hits and bone-crushing indoor football action. It's spooky fun for the whole family, complete with a haunted house and high-flying IFL football that'll leave you howling. Snag your tickets now at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets and come get scared and entertained. Friday night, May 16th, presented by Asylum of Mad Dreams and Slick Willie Radio.
The PGA Tour swings into the Quad Cities again this summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf, music, magic, and more to TPC Deer Run July 2nd through the 6th. Wednesday, July 2nd is Youth Day, and ages 15 and under are free all week, making it perfect for the whole family. Stick around after the golf on the weekend for the concerts on the Course Series, featuring country superstar Dierks Bentley on Saturday and Grammy Award-winning Zach Brown Band on Sunday. Come for the golf, stay for the party. Visit JohnDeereClassic.com to get your tickets before they sell out.
Welcome back to Off the Air on a Thursday here in the Quad Cities. As we've mentioned, the spring sports season slowly starting to come to an end. Postseason right around the corner, which means conference races in full swing. And in the Western Big Six, there's at least a share of the champion on the baseball diamond. And we're joined now by the head coach of the United Township Panthers. Bryce Lucan joins us. And Coach, I said a share. You clinched at least a share with a victory last night over Geneseo. To hear that and to know that you have at least a share, that's got to bring a smile to your face, knowing a little bit of a rebuild after a great season last year heading into this year.
Yeah, it definitely does bring a smile to our face a little bit. Going into the year, we knew we had the targets on our back, so it feels good that having the target on back, we're still able to at least clinch a share of the title right now. So.
Now I know we teach sharing and all that kind of stuff when your kids are little, but let's be honest, nobody likes to share championships. Talk about the mood last night. How much do you enjoy it, and how much do you also know that there's more things to be done and a lot more baseball hopefully to be played?
Yeah, especially with we don't have too many conference championships to really brag about over at UT right now. So it was fun winning at least a share. But at the end of the day, we want to kind of win on our own like we did last year. So we have to kind of get back to it. We have senior night tonight, which is good to kind of get over that last win yesterday, is having another game the next day, and then a good normal team coming in on Saturday, and then I think the hottest team in the Big Six with Moline next week. So it's right back into it, I guess.
Coach, you guys have played well. What do you like about this team? What has, you always talk before the season, what can happen, what you hope to see happen, but you never know if it happens. What have you seen about this group of guys that you like?
Yeah, I think it's just a resilient group of guys. We had some injuries in the beginning of the year, so some guys had to step up, and some guys stepped up and took full advantage of it. And our guys that we're still using, even when our guys that are injured are back now. So it kind of helped us out. I mean, starting 1-6 wasn't the greatest feeling in the world, but it was good that we found guys who we're going to use down the road, and yeah, it ended up working out for us.
You talked about that start, a 1-6 start, but a really challenging schedule early on as well. What did you learn about yourselves during that? Because coaches don't like to lose, but sometimes losing, can you learn about yourselves early on?
Yeah, I kind of scheduled that on purpose. I thought there was two ways it was going to go. It was either going to be, well, we're fitting in with these top teams right away at the beginning of the year, which would be great, obviously, or we're going to get a little shock, a little culture shock, which ended up happening. And because we had such a young group last year, so I kind of wanted to give them a little culture shock on what teams are like, the better teams in the state are like. So we kind of got that, and the guys figured they needed to pick it up a little bit, every single one of them, and that's what's happened so far. So it was kind of good in the long run, I guess.
When you look at what's gone on so far, especially during conference play, is there a game, a moment, a stretch maybe that it started clicking for these guys in this group?
Yeah, this group, something about them, they love playing these conference games. A lot of times I have to try to give little seeds of motivation, but lately I've just been going up there, and they've been talking for the most part themselves. They've been ready to go themselves. I haven't had to do too much. So it's been a real easy team to coach right now. But as far as just a single individual moment, I think Quincy was a really tough doubleheader for us. We lost the first game, or not doubleheader, tough 2 games. We lost the first game, and then we were down. We gave a 9 spot in the 3rd inning. And then they kind of had to decide if they wanted to fight back and try to win another conference championship, or they can easily just give up and try to get the next series. But we fought back and came back and won 10-9. And I think that kind of gave us confidence that any time we're trailing, that we still have a chance. And I think it was good for us. Coach,
it's not supposed to be this easy. Here you are, you know nothing but conference championships so far. And I joke a little bit, but to kind of talk about the fit it's been, and obviously you had familiarity, but the fit it's been with the program, where it's going, and kind of where you envisioned it when you took it over.
Yeah, I think anytime to be able to do that, you got to start off, you first got to have really good players. And I think when Myers left a couple of years ago, he wanted to set up the next coach in a good situation as far as good players. He knew that our junior class was a really good class, and our senior class is a really good class. So credit to him, because he left. He knew what he was leaving behind when he stopped coaching. And then so these group of players, I don't know if UT's ever had as much talent as these group of guys that we have right now. So we're trying to take advantage of that talent as much as we can while we have it. So they've been doing a great job with that.
You mentioned expectations. We did a Western Big Six preview week, if you will, talked to a bunch of you knuckleheads, and your name was brought up. There were those expectations. Mentally, how have you guys handled it? Because you talked about that target on your back. Each Western Big Six doubleheader, I'm going to still call them a doubleheader. I know they're 3 days, but each week, if you will, you've had that target. They're playing the defending champions when it came to United Township. How have they handled that mentally?
This off season for me specifically was one of the most stressful things off seasons I think I had. I mean, it was even more stressful in my first year. I think it's different. It's a lot harder to play when there's an expectation that you're one of the top teams in the conference than when I first started. We were kind of the middle of the conference type of team where there's no really expectations. You just go out there and play, no pressure. So going into the year, there's a lot of pressure I put on myself. But I mean, I think just going into the Western Big Six and knowing that you're going to have to bring it every single day. The kids know that and they've seen it. If they haven't bring it, we've lost games in the past, or last year we lost one that we didn't think we should have lost, and then this year we lost another one like that. So they know that if they don't come ready to play, they're going home with a loss. So that helps.
Bryce Lucan, head coach at United Township, joining us right now. A few more for you, Coach. You mentioned the Western Big Six, and watching it and seeing it from afar and getting to some games. It seems, and we talked about it before the season, more balanced. It seems like the depth is better in the conference. Have you noticed that this year? Because I don't think there's a week where you go into that week going, okay, we get a breather. It's a really solid conference top to bottom. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think every single team that we've played so far, at least one game's been a dogfight. Sterling, we won 10-9, had to come back. Quincy we split with and won 10-9, had to come back. Rocky put up a good first game against us. Galesburg put up a really good tough game. Alleman's really tough, both games. So yeah, every single team we played, it's been at least one of the games has been really, really tough. So yeah, it's the depth of it is very impressive, I believe.
You look at Moline coming up, and you got some coaches in that building that won't even say the name Moline. I know there's a rivalry there. How do you balance that going into a big week next week with the rivalry / what's at stake? I mean, this is what kids probably in your community grow up dreaming about, playing the rival school with a conference championship on the – how do you prepare for a big week next week?
So my biggest thing, my coaching kind of philosophy type of thing is we don't really look forward to any teams. We know we play Moline next week. Obviously, it's a big game, but we have a game today. We have a really good team on Saturday, and then on Monday we'll start thinking about Moline as far as trying to play them. I think anytime you look forward, especially to a good program like Moline, that's when you start losing games that you're going to play either today or Saturday. So we have to figure out and do everything we're supposed to do these next two games, and then if we play like we can these next two games, then I feel confident going to Monday. But these next two games are up first before Moline, so that's a good way to not look forward to that type of moment. It's like a lot of our kids, especially our kids, sometimes they like to hype themselves too high. So sometimes I got to bring them down a little bit. So that's a good way. We just don't talk about it. We don't do anything. We just play whoever's on our schedule next. So, Coach,
you're a young head coach, and that's some wise stuff right there. You gave no bulletin board material. You gave me a bunch of coaching cliches. That's well done. You didn't. Last one for you before you go. The postseason, and I know the Western Big Six is super important. That's what you're focused on. Actually, focused on tonight. I get that, but you played some really good teams early on and during the season. Is it going to be exciting to see where team has grown and the postseason grind and the one and done and all that kind of stuff? Just talk about the postseason coming up and maybe a litmus test on how you guys have grown this year.
Yeah, 4A, there's no breaks for postseason. Everybody's got a really good arm, and it's really tough, as we've seen last year. We were done after our first game, unfortunately, and this year we still have to put together a good week before seedings come out. We don't even know if we're going to be in the playing game. We don't know what seed we're going to get, but we do know more than likely we're going to face a really good arm. So we scheduled tough at the end of the year. We have Sycamore on the last week, who's usually really good, and then Morris, who's really, really good as well. So hopefully seeing those two type of arms in the last week and competing, fighting off those guys will help us out in the playoff games. But like I said, 4A baseball, it's no joke when you get in the postseason. So
that it is. Western Big Six has been fun this year. Coach, you guys have been fun to watch. Best of luck the rest of the way. Stay healthy, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. That is United Township head baseball coach Bryce Lucan joining us. The Panthers clinching a share of the Western Big Six championship last night, and a big doubleheader with, I think they call it the school down the road, coming up with Moline next week as well. So we've got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Thursday.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. It is Throwback Thursday, a segment we started a couple weeks ago. We've had Jim Mertens and Jason Fechner on the first couple episodes of it, and we decided I need to class the place up a little bit. And when I think class, I think of this young lady right here, Denise Hnytka, joining us right now. First and foremost, good morning, young lady. Always good to see you.
Good morning, Matt. It's so great to see you and to be on the show. A wild success, I hear.
You hear like you don't watch every day, young lady.
No, because I didn't watch your sportscast, not in 10 years. And I'm certainly not going to start now.
It was great because I texted you and I was like, hey, do you want to come on? And you're like, and talk about what? And I'm like, well, sports. I need your opinion on sports. So, and I'm sure you have Denise, you might act like you don't like sports, but you have boys of your own. You have an amazing husband.
Yeah, I do.
And also, you have opinions about everything. So don't act like you don't have an opinion about sports. So,
yeah, no, I have opinions on everything. And I do have sports opinions that are usually like politics related. I listen to a lot of news and politics still, still lives within me. And there's always that sports news crossover politics stuff. So, yeah, I'll always have some uneducated opinion on something.
Yeah. There's a story you told me back in the day, and you're like, you were after sports segment. It wasn't with us. And you're like, that's why they play the game or something like that. Do you remember that story?
I don't remember that.
Darn it.
But I mean, look, that's something John Madden would have said. So I feel like I'm in good company.
Yeah. It was
just
about money
get the
or
ball
something.
over the goal line.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Exactly. It's not that much different than anything else. Okay. So everybody's wondering, if you don't know, and everybody knows, Denise Hnytka was at WQAD for was it like 10, 11 years? 11 years?
Yeah. Just shy of 11 years. Yeah.
Okay. And it's been a minute since you've been gone. So
I left in June of 22.
Okay. And that's when I decided, like that day, I was like, I eventually got to get out of here. My inspiration is gone.
This is it.
You know, there's no reason for me to be here. No.
There's no future for me here.
Right. Tell people what you're up to now, what you're doing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I work in local government. I work for the city of Davenport. And my official title is I'm their chief communications officer, which essentially means that it essentially means that I run the newsroom that is a local government. So whatever it is that city council or city staff is talking about, I try to communicate that to the public. So it's very newsy. It's very keeping up with what's going on. So it feeds those parts of me that still live and miss, that part of my professional career. So yeah, it's really fun, and it has a lot in common with news, which I was not expecting.
You mentioned news, and I think a lot of people get confused. Dan Burge told me a long time ago for sports that like there's two types of people. There's people who want to cover sports, and there's people who want to be on TV. And I think a lot of people just assume, people assume like, oh, well, Denise wanted to be on TV and Matt wanted to be on TV. And like, that was our goal, is to be like, and for me, it had nothing to do with TV. It was because I like sports. I wanted to cover sports. And that's the same with you. You mentioned the news side of things. That news stuff is important to you. That's your passion. That's your love, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the idea that I'm a little bit nosy. I'm just kind of at heart a nosy person. No. I kind of like knowing what's going on, what people are talking about, and why. So I think that's initially why I got into it, is the idea that I wanted to know what was happening and I wanted to tell other people, which sounds super gossipy, which also is not off-brand. But it's just, I don't know, I like feeling plugged in. Yeah. And so I was worried that by leaving news where you are plugged in all the time, you don't have the ability to walk away from it. But I found that there are other ways to still do that and have those same interesting experiences. And I guess I'm kind of on the other side of it now, where news people now have to call me and ask me what's going on. And so I still feel like I'm in the mix. And you're right though. I don't think I ever really put two and two together. Like, if I do this career, I will get to be on television. It was I don't know. It was a little, I don't know. That maybe makes me sound kind of dumb.
No.
That I didn't necessarily, because now I think it's different. Now I think with content creation and phones and all of that stuff, my first TV station didn't have a website, Matt. Like that's how
old.
Early in the game. No, but I'm serious.
Yeah. Well, I remember going through the stages of, hey, our website's everything, and then social medias. You remember we used to have a monitor up in the newsroom that tracked your social media against not just people in our newsroom, but against our market and other stations and other people in other stations. And it's gone in so many different directions, which is but I always tell people, like, going on and doing the show at the end of the night was like putting your coat on when you're leaving school. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, or packing your bag up at the end of the day. Like, my whole day was like going, getting it, doing it, all that kind of stuff. That was like the challenging part. The easy part was just like, oh, before I got to go, I got to run out there and tell people about it.
I got to do this thing. Yeah. I got to be on TV real quick, and then I'm going to go home.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Sometimes I think about that I didn't maybe leave and like for the last time remember what it was like to put that mic on and do the thing. I'm sure it was the same way for you. Like, it was so emotional for me when I left. It felt so big. It felt like a huge life decision. It felt like a big breakup, a big goodbye, even though it was a choice that I made and one that I was ready for. Yeah. I don't think I sat there and remembered, like, this has been a privilege. I knew it all along, but I don't know. It was so emotional. Those last couple months were definitely a blur. I was so ready to get out. I was so ready to be home at night with my family. Yeah. That I was kind of in the mindset of like, this is the next thing I got to do. But yeah, to be able to sit in that chair and have those lights, somebody decided to tune in to what it was that you were doing was such a privilege.
Yeah.
It was such a privilege. And yeah, it was cool.
No, you
Those
did
were cool
awesome
days.
with it. But you mentioned, and it's bad because we've gone on for 10 minutes and I haven't talked about the real important person. Like, how's Turner? Like, how is he? I miss him. So, Turner's your husband. Tell me about how Turner's doing. Your boys are getting big. Yeah. And you mentioned family. And it's funny. I always tell people, like, COVID changed everything, but it changed our business, because I went from like, it was weird when I got back, because for 13 months they told me I couldn't go there, but I had to still do my job, but I couldn't go there. And so then I got to the point, I remember going back and saying, like, you can never tell me I have to be here, because for 13 months you told me I can't be here, but I had to do my job. So I think it changed a lot about those kind of things. But obviously the boys very important to you. And once you got home and were able to do those kind of things, just talk about how they're doing all those kind of things. And I know they're getting big, and I'm sure they're just terrors like mine are.
Yeah, so Turner's great. The last time you saw him, he has a full white goatee. I mean, lots of...
Is it white or is it gray?
It's like white, gray. Yeah, like we're
that's
old
the
people
nicest.
now.
That's so nice that you call it white. It's gray. But
it just I think it's just, well, you like made a super gross comment about it, which is what I was thinking about, which I'm not going to say here.
I didn't say anything. Here's what I'll say. I'll say that Turner can do anything. He can shave his head, beard, whatever. He's going to be he can pull off whatever he wants. Am I right?
Well, here's the deal. The reason I liked Turner in the first place is because when I met him, I think he was probably 21. I was 20. And he looked like he was 45. And I remember thinking, like, man, if this guy's this handsome and already looks 45, like that means when he turns 45, like things are going to be fine. Yeah. And he looks the same to me, other than his beard is white.
That's a lot to think about as a 20-year-old. You have a very interesting mind, young lady.
I just thought he was just like a very handsome person who like just had the spirit of a 45-year-old man. So I just thought, like, no, this is good. There will be no surprises.
There you go. I like it. So he's doing good. How are the boys?
Yeah, he's doing good. The boys are doing great also. So Abram is 8, and Everett is 6. Abram's getting super into soccer, which is really fun. Everett is doing those like ninja classes at the YMCA where they like climb the wall and, do the rope and swing on the thing. So that's really fun. We, I'm sure you know this, having like 3 little guys after your oldest, but you want them to have different experiences than the oldest. So they're not just always doing like that thing Abram did and is old news now. Mm-hmm. So we like to put Ev into things that Abram hasn't done so that it's not just always like, oh, your turn to do that thing.
Yeah. How different are they? With
They're
each other,
so different,
because that's what I tell people about my boys. There's a couple of them that are similar. They all kind of, but like they're all so, like Charlie and Chase are similar in different aspects. Like they all have their similarities, but like they're all so different. Just the way they're wired, the way they react to things. Like I always joke, like I'm pretty tough with my oldest Charlie when it comes to things, and then like I'm coaching Chase now. And you'll get a kick out of this. So I'm coaching Chase. He's 10. And I think I said like 2 things to him at practice. And we got home and Charlie could hear us. And he's like, Dad, you were kind of hard on me at practice today. And like, I was like, why? Really? Why? And he's like, well, you told me I got to play defense better. And you told me I got to get my butt down with whatever. And like, Charlie's listening. And Charlie's like, that's it? That's all he said to you? He goes, right in front of Jen, he goes, wait till he starts dropping the F-bomb when you're like 7th grade. Then you know you're being coached. I'm like, oh man, Charlie, shut up. But like Charlie handles it differently and like Chase doesn't. Like, I think that's the coolest thing about kids. I probably just got myself in trouble on this thing. Hopefully Jen doesn't watch this today. But they're all so different, but they're all so great, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's weird how they can be so little, and yet one is clearly a morning kid. The other is so hard to pull out of bed. And that's just like within them. That's like, we didn't tell one, like, you should be really difficult in the morning and you should hop right out of bed. Those simple characteristics, I think, are so fascinating. That's just clearly baked into their soul. Like, I am not a wake up morning guy. But then like Abram and I will run. We like to go for walks at night and things like that. And usually Everett is the one going, Pop, were you going to go on that walk? Because we should probably hang back. I mean, don't you think we've got that thing to do here? We probably shouldn't go to that.
Yeah. This is a great idea. I love it. No, they all are so
yeah,
super.
Just little stuff like that.
It's great. When you think back to WQAD, so I had Jason on and I'm like, what did I remember like Jason when it comes to like, and I remember he went over to the Middle East. I don't know if you were there yet when Wheezy and him went over.
No, I wasn't. But
and he talked about losing his camera and all that kind of. When you think back to WQAD, what are some of the stories, things? I got one, but what are the things that like you remember the most or you're most proud of, if that makes any sense?
Well, there's a lot of things because there's the professional things that I'm really proud of. Like I did not think that I'd be interviewing Joe Biden and that he would yell at me. I, didn't expect that I would be covering any of these political candidates and getting to meet them and, ultimately having, just such imposter syndrome. Like, does he know that I'm just like some moron, like who is going to ask him some questions about gas prices? Like, you're just so like, how am I in this? I feel like I just met cool people and, I had Donnie Wahlberg announce my first pregnancy, like as the new kid on the block. Like what an insane opportunity that, just such a once in a lifetime thing. So there's those cool things. And then there's just like the memories of this group of people in this moment in time when we were all just united around this one thing. And especially in the days before we all had kids and, when we would just go out at night and hang out, and we were so in it. We loved that job so deeply. Every little decision, every little mistake that happened on the air was so all encompassing because we lived it and loved it. And it was so important to us. And so when I look back on WQAD, I think back on how, just how crazy it was that I cared so much about the littlest details, but how also it was just such a reflection of that moment in time that this job was everything to me.
Yeah.
It was everything. And I just had such a strong desire to have people understood that like when I stood in front of you at night, like I gave a damn, and I'm really proud of the fact that I gave a damn. And sometimes giving a damn means that like you're not super likable at times, especially when you're a woman, and like that's totally okay. But yeah, I have such fond memories of that group of people united around this thing.
Yeah.
I think that was really, really special because there was a point in time when that group of people didn't exist anymore. And I felt that shift.
Yeah.
And that shift was part of why I knew I had to move on because the moment had passed. Yeah. And there was a new moment starting for somebody else.
Yep.
But it didn't feel like my place anymore. It didn't feel like the same people were united around the same thing.
I was just talking to my boys the other day, and one of them said, "Hey, do you miss like WQAD and doing it?" And I said, "I don't miss I miss the way it was, if that makes any sense."
Yeah.
And that's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
That's not bashing what it is now. It's just that like my glory days are my sweet spot it's over. It's not the same. Things have changed. Newsrooms are different. All those kind of things. The way that my favorite memories of newsrooms probably don't fly these days. Like probably
no,
I always
they
joke
don't. They don't.
Like
Dan
Birch
don't
has been on here.
understand what newsrooms were like. No.
Yeah, Dan Birch has been on here, and I said like, Dan, you'd be done in like 5 minutes because of you'd say something that would get offended. But that's what I love. I love those. It's kind of like with college too. Like I would hate to go back to college now, but I'd love to relive my college days, if that makes any sense. So it's a different. Things are different now, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing or anything like that. But like, it's so when I think of Denise, I think of your great help when it came to our score opens, including one in which you literally put I'm trying to put this nicely. It didn't go well.
Okay.
Let's just put it that way. There was one that didn't go great, but you were so proud of the fact that we got it done, and you wouldn't let me not run it, if that makes any sense. But you were always open.
The Big Bird one?
Yeah, we had Big Bird. Was it the Big Bird one? I think
Which
there was.
one?
It was Big Bird. Of course, it was Big Bird.
Okay.
So basically,
we
went and we had, I don't want to get too particular, not that this person's watching,
I
but
get
anyways,
you.
we went and it was, what was going on in the world? Oh, they were trying to cancel.
It was presidential politics.
Yeah, they were trying to get rid of Big Bird.
It was based around a debate, yeah.
Yeah, somebody said they get rid of Sesame Street or whatever. Shows how long ago this was. Good Lord. So we were like, we need to get a Big Bird suit. And we couldn't get that, believe it or not. They're not readily available. So somebody's
because also we wanted it for free.
Was somebody dressed up? This is going to sound so bad saying this. Somebody's dressed up as a chicken outside of a pawn shop in Moline and twirled a sign. And I don't know why we thought, well, we can't get Big Bird, but let's get the chicken costume.
Let's get the chicken. Yeah.
And so she became our star, and it didn't go well. But I will say this, as many of them like that one that didn't go as well, you enjoyed helping us out. Your creative juices would get rolling, young lady. And there was probably a season or two that you kind of created a lot of those score opens or had the ideas.
No, we had some really good ones. The one that I remember is the one where there was like a weather complication and James was trying to hide from you. Yep. And so we shot it where you're looking all over the building for him and he was hidden in all these different spots. That one was hilarious. There was also a Friday where everyone in the newsroom was sick.
Yes.
And there was very few of us because this was when ultimately you could go to work sick and it was actually expected of you to go to work sick. And so the ending shot was because Angie was going to fill in for everybody who was sick. And so the ending shot was her chugging Robitussin.
Yes. Do you remember Jim Merton's first score? That was your idea as well. Jim Merton's first score, because he had moved from the mornings to the evening. And so he even had he had that sign that kids have first day of school. It said first day of score. And he was he had a backpack. It was great. All of those are great. But Big Bird, I will never. And I'm like, I remember we got done. And I'm like, Denise, we're not going to put that on TV. And you're like, yes, we are. And I'm like, we can't. And you're like, no, she's going to go home. She
was very honored to be part of it.
Yes, it was one of my, I remember watching the open. I usually watched them so excited. I remember just get through this. So I don't know why, but I think I was tagging you on Facebook to a post or whatever, but I put in your name and just started scrolling. One of the posts that came up, and I don't even remember this. I'm shocked that it came up. You took a picture of me at the makeup mirror using a stapler to staple my shirt. I don't know what was going on. But
among other things,
it reminded me of the makeup mirror. So I don't talk a lot about the makeup mirror. It doesn't sound as manly as I like to present myself sometimes. Right. But that's where we did our best gossiping, our best complaining, and our best I'd be like, Denise, I'm like, and you could tell I was cranky, you were cranky, and you'd just be like, I'm going to go back to the makeup mirror. I'm like, okay, I'll be there. And that's where we would complain. The makeup mirror was the place, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because people always knew that I would be there about 30 minutes before showtime. And it was in kind of the back corner of the set. It sounds really fancy when you imagine what might a vanity mirror for people on television might look like? Well, imagine take that picture in your head and now cover that area with layers and layers of hairspray, glittery eyeshadow dust bunnies, trash, old gooped up brushes from a reporter from 5 years ago.
A spoon?
It was trash. No one ever cleaned it.
But plastic
we stood
spoon
back there.
A plastic spoon?
A plastic spoon, because at some point they had to train us how to do HD makeup, because HD was you can't use your old makeup. You have to use this new makeup because the lights are so different. And so you were supposed to use this spray thingy. Mm-hmm. So you still used the makeup that was supposed to go in the sprayer, But you at some point must have ditched the sprayer. I'm guessing it got clogged and was unusable.
They showed us how to do it, and I'm like, well, I can't do this. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she's like, you just come back here about 45 minutes. I'm like, there's times I'm running in, like I go out and shoot stuff. And she's like, I go, what do I do if I can't get all that fancy makeup stuff out? And she's like, well, you can just apply it by a brush. And so Paulie Mayfield was the one where like former Miss Iowa. Well, I'm like, Paulie, I'm not doing this. And so for the first 6 months of HD, she would put my makeup on for me. I would sit there and she would put my makeup on for me. And then that quickly ended. And so like I
then you
I would
transition to doing it yourself. You had to mix your colors. So you would take a plastic spoon, but this spoon was so old, it wasn't even the whole spoon. Like at some point, like the front had broken off. So it was like the end of a spoon. And you had to mix your colors. So you'd put a couple drops in of the one color and a couple drops in of the other color. And the only way to stir that would obviously be a pen cap. So you would stir. It's like you're making meth or something at the makeup mirror with your spoon and your pen cap, and you mix it around. And then you would take this disgusting old brush. I mean, this thing was disgusting. It probably wasn't even a makeup brush. Like it looked like a painter's brush from Home Depot. And you would just smear this stuff on.
It's not.
It was
nothing
really
you said. Nothing you just said is not true. Everything. But here's the thing: like people were so appalled by it. But you just mentioned the counter was just full of goop and disgusting stuff, and everything else was a mess. But people would be like, "Dazzo, your spoon was out." I'm like, Look at what's going on. It's like, God bless my wife. The other day, she's like, can you put some of your stuff away in the bathroom? And I went into the bathroom and like 99% of the counter is full of makeup and stuff of hers. And there's like my little corner that's got like a brush out. And I'm like, okay, that brush is really causing a difference. So, gosh, those are man, that was fun. But we did do a lot of soul searching at the mirror. We did a lot of gossiping at the mirror, all those kind of things. I think we kept each other sane.
About life at the mirror.
And I don't know how sane we were, but I think we kept each other sane. Okay, I got some fun questions.
But that's just the whole thing. That was the whole part of being in it, because that was when like you came to work and then you didn't leave work until work was over. No one was working from home. No one was driving kids around. No one was like, see, when you were there, you were there. Yep. You were in it. And that's where the score magic really came from, is because we were all there all day. No one was moving around.
Yeah.
And so we just had all the time in the world to just talk about this, like, oh, and then we could have this guy say this. Okay, we're gonna do that.
Well, and that's like, and since COVID, I ran kids around all the time. And like, that's why I loved Fridays, is because that was like the one day where like my family knew, my wife knew, my kids knew that like dad just wasn't available. Like Fridays are too busy. And I loved that. I loved staying there. I had nobody to go run to and all that kind of stuff. It was a ton of fun. Okay. I got some fun questions. I'm trying to think what I want to do first. I'm going to do some questions, and then we have word association, which is always really fun. Best food in the Quad Cities. Like if your favorite place, like Denise, you got relatives coming in town and they've never been to the Quad Cities, you need to go here.
Well, like my favorite restaurant currently is Monarch. I love Monarch, but like Quad City food. Oh God. See, these are the questions that I think later about what I should have said.
No editing.
Best food? I don't know. Next question.
Okay. What's the best Quad Cities event tradition? Like, when it comes to when you think of the Quad Cities, what's the thing that like stands out the most?
I really do love the Bix. I think the Bix is really, really special.
You're just saying that because you work for the city of Davenport. Now you're just being a mark.
Well, we are the host city of the Quad City Time Bix 7. Yeah. No, I think it's a really, really special event. It's a very unique, a Quad City only experience.
Yeah, no, it's a blast every summer. If you could have dinner with anybody, who would it be? One person.
Dinner with anybody?
In the entire world, whatever you want to do. And
anybody
you can't
in
say
the entire world?
And you can't say Turner. That's lame.
You know who I'm loving right now? I absolutely adore Megyn Kelly. podcaster, conservative commentator. I think she has hot takes, and I know she's controversial, but like that woman can interview anybody, and I admire that so much.
She reminds me of you. And I mean that in a nice way. She's like, doesn't care. The nicest thing I've ever said to you, probably. Like, she just
nicest
doesn't.
thing you've ever said to me. Yeah.
The one thing I like, Denise, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, like sometimes you have to be tough. You have to be, and Denise, I'm trying to say this nicely. You don't care sometimes. You have to do what you have to do, and you're all about business sometimes. And I like that. You don't care that much about hurting people's feelings.
I mean, for better or worse. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I just like, I'm like,
I feel like,
there's times I remember going like, it's just Denise being Denise. And I'm sure there's times that that's just Dazzo being Dazzo. Like, I get it. I totally understand that. Okay, word association. I'm going to say these names, and you're going to tell me the word that comes to mind. We're going to start with, let's start with Jason Fechner.
Smart.
Okay. Angie Sharp.
Bestie.
James Sahara.
Goofball.
Yes, I was going to say goofy. Mine is always goofy, but goofball, goofy.
Yeah.
Chris Minor.
Like dream girl.
That's 2 words, but I'll let it go. Dream worlds make sense. That works. Jim Mertens.
Tough, but like in great ways.
Yes.
You know, just like he, you know, he's the type of guy with a super tough exterior, but like no one will cry faster at like a story about a sick child than Jim Mertens. Like, but he's tough exterior, but then also hilarious and goofy and super soft and sweet.
When you like, I always say I've known Jim forever. Like, once you earn Jim's respect, which I'm still waiting to do, Jim, if you're watching that.
Yeah, any old day.
Yeah, but like then it's great. You know what I mean? Like, he just, and that's not a bad thing in life. Sometimes like when you're a goofy kid that comes in, I remember, and of course I was working floor crew trying to go be a sports guy and ditching on his show half the time. Like, I could probably have been annoying, but once you get to know Jim and like, what you see is what you get from Jim. Last one.
I like people for whom you are stupid until you prove yourself smart. Like, when someone like that compliments you, it actually means something.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. Dan Burch was the same way.
I like people like that.
If like when you got a compliment from Dan Burch, you knew that it meant something. John Marks is the same way in my life because like he's be the first person to tell you that you're an idiot and you screwed something up. So when they actually tell you did something good, then it means a lot more, for sure. All right, last one. I've never done this with Matt Randazzo.
Friend.
Oh, that's I'll take it. You could have been a lot meaner.
I just feel like kind of like, you know, you've just always been a really, really good friend to me and like very big brothery to me. I've always felt that you were like protective of me in a way. I don't know. I've always felt very safe around you.
We're very similar, Denise. We're very, very similar, which is a big brother. I'll take that because we're very similar when it comes to our outlooks of the world and of the newsrooms and of life sometimes. So, and I'm sure there's times I pissed you off. I guarantee you that, and vice versa.
Yeah,
but it was just like, I would just chalk it up to like, it's just Denise. And like, and a lot of times, and you know this too, it's the environment. Like sometimes it wasn't like, it was just, and people don't understand that these days. Like if you're under deadlines and you got a million things to do and everything's bad going on, don't take it personally. Just like read the room, read the room, what's going on. It's not like you're not the problem. It's just the environment is what's going on. So, I love,
I don't know, just if you were mad about something, it's because I knew you cared, you know? And I think the reason we would get so mad is because there were always a handful of people who didn't care as much as we did. Yeah. And we couldn't understand how you could not care to the degree that we cared.
Yes.
Like you must care as much as me about this thing.
Also, Denise, we were not the only ones, but if something went bad, we usually look dumb. And that's not saying that in a cocky way or a self-serving way. It's just like we were the ones that like we were hung to dry if it didn't go well. And if we messed it up, and we messed it up a million times, it was on us. So, well, I appreciate you doing this. I think it's fantastic. We need to get lunch together soon.
Yeah, let's do that. Because the last lunch, can we talk about this just super quick? The last lunch that we had, and this is why I say like big brothery and like friend when I think about you, is because I think like we had the realest conversation that I think we've ever had at that lunch where you were deciding to go out on this venture. And I felt like it was it was like a little bit of a girlfriendy talk where it was like, Matt, you need to go all in. You need to like go all in on yourself, which sounds awful.
You girl power. Do it, girl.
No, but like go in, bet on yourself, do this thing. Like I don't know. It was a very like I might have even thrown some astrology at you. I don't even know. But it was so it's very, very cool to see what I knew was going to happen because I know you were, emotional about leaving, and so much TV identity was you had to deal with, and I totally had been there, and I understood how you felt at that moment. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you took the leap.
Absolutely. And you know what, people say like there's life on the other side. There is, and that doesn't mean the other side ain't great. That's what I tell people all the time. The other side's great too, but this side's cool as well. Best of luck with everything. We'll catch up soon. Who should I have on? Help me with like, who should I like a Throwback Thursday?
Well, Chris.
Yes.
And Angie.
Yes. There you go. There's my next 2 weeks. Do you think though? Do you think Angie will do it?
You get Chris on, and you're gonna get Summertime Chris, and Summertime Chris is is Summertime Chris, is she in Florida, or does Summertime Chris in
I think
the
she's
Midwest?
up here.
How does that work?
But in Chicago, because they're not here at all.
Yeah, she's in Chicago now. But
the beauty thing,
I was just thinking if you might get like Summertime Margarita, like that Chris.
I don't
think
think
that's a great Chris.
Last time I did any like TV or this kind of stuff with Chris. Fall Chris was pretty fun too when she was the guest griller. I mean, so I don't think it matters if it's summer.
No, that's true.
Winter. Like Chris is Chris. So those are two good. You know who I thought of too? Johnny Gindridge, who's doing awesome stuff down in Muscatine. What I should have done, because I got like all these different, like I should have done like, I should surprise you right now. I should be like, speaking of Angie, and then push a button and have Angie here. That would have been great. I should have done that. Anyways, next time you got to come back and do it again.
Yeah, you'll get to like the Jerry Springer portion of your show in a couple of years when you're needing content.
This is the I told Jen that April, May are the interesting months where it's not as busy, but we're rocking and rolling and having fun. So thank you, young lady. Best of luck.
Congratulations. Really, really proud of you.
I'll talk to you soon. That is the one and only Denise Hnytka joining us Throwback Thursday on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We got more to get to. You're watching OTA on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Quad Cities, are you brave enough for halfway to Halloween? Friday, May 16th, the Steamwheelers battle on Tulsa in a night of haunted hits and bone-crushing indoor football action. It's spooky fun for the whole family, complete with a haunted house and high-flying IFL football that'll leave you howling. Snag your tickets now at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets and come get scared and entertained. Friday night, May 16th, presented by Asylum of Mad Dreams and Slick Willie Radio.
The PGA Tour swings into the Quad Cities again this summer, and you don't want to miss it. The John Deere Classic brings golf, music, magic, and more to TPC Deer Run July 2nd through the 6th. Wednesday, July 2nd is Youth Day, and ages 15 and under are free all week, making it perfect for the whole family. Stick around after the golf on the weekend for the concerts on the Course Series, featuring country superstar Dierks Bentley on Saturday and Grammy Award-winning Zac Brown Band on Sunday. Come for the golf, stay for the party. Visit JohnDeereClassic.com to get your tickets before they sell out.
Boy, the John Deere Classic is coming quickly. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A Thursday in the Quad Cities, May 8th. I had to look at my sheet. A lot of stuff's going on. There's a new pope. The white smoke just came out. So there was like 133 cardinals voting. The new pope will appear soon. I'm a Catholic boy. This kind of stuff is kind of fun. So he'll appear at the central window at the, St. Peter's Basilica, coming up here in a matter of moments. So thanks for watching Off the Air on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. A fun show. We caught up with Matt Martin, Kate Martin's dad. Just kind of talked about her journey to where she's at in the WNBA, how likable she is, the future. Was she going to coach maybe when she's done playing? All those kind of things. So great conversation with Matt Martin. Go check that out if you missed it. Also, congratulations to the Western Big Six, at least co-champion, United Township Panthers. Their baseball team winning yesterday, so they clinched a share, and they got a doubleheader with Moline. Not a doubleheader, but 2 games with Moline. One on Monday, one on Wednesday, coming up next week. So we talked with Bryce Lucan, their head coach. So go check that out as well. And then also Throwback Thursday. How fun was that? Denise Hnytka. I worked with Denise for 11 years and she didn't kill me. So I think that's probably the upset of the century. So always great to catch up with Denise on our Throwback Thursday. Coming up tomorrow, really excited to welcome a mentor of mine, a legend here in the Quad Cities, the best of the best, both as a sportscaster and as a human being. Dan Pearson will be in studio tomorrow on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Super excited about that. We mentioned last Friday we had Kirk Ferentz on the show. If you missed that interview, go check it out on the website, on the YouTube page. But next week we are efforting and we will be getting Brett Bielema. So we'll talk to the Illinois head football coach coming up next week. When we know the day, we'll let you know, all those kind of things. I'm still waiting to figure a few things out, but Brett Bielema next week on Off the Air. Excited about that. Illinois football, huge expectations this year. A lot of people think they can be that Indiana team like last year that makes a run to the college football playoffs. And you got some local flavor on the team. Matthew Bailey's there. Cole Rusk is there. Cole Rusk will be captaining the Illinois team at the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing on June 14th. A good reason to plug that. Spots are filling up extremely fast, but we do have a few available. If you want to go out and golf, have a great time, GuyRandazzoGolf.com. It's June 14th, Father's Day Saturday, Highland Springs Golf Course. Highland is beautiful this time of year. It's always beautiful, but I just golfed it a couple Fridays ago. It was in great condition. New clubhouse, new pavilion as well. So super excited about that. Snoop caters everything. You can get chips and salsa on the course, a bunch of fun, different things. Mobile party experience. We'll be out there as well with a party trailer. That's a ton of fun. You'll see familiar faces from WQED like James Sahara, Corey Kuffler, Shelby Kluver, Pat Anger will be out there. I'll be out there. Tom Kakert will be out there. Charles Jugasol from the Notre Dame football team will be golfing once again this year. We mentioned the Iowa versus Illinois matchup. So we'll have that with the football teams. And I think Cooper Koch will be captaining in an Iowa basketball team golfing as well. So a lot of fun things to get to on June 14th, but there are some spots still available. So go check it out, GuyRandazzoGolf.com. So again, we have Dan Pearson coming up tomorrow on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, there's a new Pope, so go check that out as well. I'm going to do that. Have a great Friday or Thursday, Quad Cities. We'll see you back here for one more episode as we thank our fantastic sponsors. We'll see you back here tomorrow, right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.